This at Arlington, Dr. Cowley, could you come up, please? And you're recognized.
Well, good morning. I'm Jennifer Cowley, the president of the University of Texas at Arlington, and I'm happy to be with you today to go over our budget priorities for the 89th legislative session. UT Arlington's recent and ongoing successes are largely attributable to the resources that you've helped provide through the legislature. The funding combined with our efforts of our faculty and staff and the passion of our talented student body have propelled UTA to be the #1 ranked public university in Dallas-Fort Worth with best salary outcomes. And that is really critically important as we think about aligning workforce needs and the opportunities we provide our students. This session, our budget priorities are focused on the main pillars of keeping us moving forward. First and foremost is formula funding. It's the foundation of supporting higher education in Texas, and it's critical that we keep pace with inflation. Increasing formula funding is critical to UTA to maintain our current level of services to our students. Now, last session, this body supported research in Texas at historic levels. This enhanced support for research drives economic development and workforce creation throughout Texas, attracting new businesses to DFW and the rest of the state. It is vital to Texas that we continue this level of research support for emerging research universities, particularly those that receive the state research funding from the National Research Support Fund. And the question got raised, what's that return on investment? For every 8 cents you provide in NSRF funding at UTA, that generates $1 of economic impact in the state of Texas. We're aligning our research to important areas of priority within our region in terms of economic development, whether that be aerospace, construction materials, or other key areas of support. UTA's institutional enhancement item is used as a base operating funding to help provide students with degrees of value and contribute to student success. Specifically, these funds support advising and retention services and student support initiatives to make sure our students are getting the support they need to complete their degrees. Continued funding of this item will allow UTA to continue providing student services and educational support that supports the university's mission and contributes to Texas's economy. And for UTA, the most important request this session is funding to expand UTA's impact westward into one of the fastest growing areas of the Dallas-Fort Worth region. As many of you already know, with the support of the UT system and our partners in Tarrant and Parker counties, we're developing a new campus in West Fort Worth. This campus will bring Tier 1 Research University to one of the fastest growing counties in Texas without a 4-year university. Our request for $60 million in one-time funding is to get this campus up and running by 2028, and it's vital to the growth of our region and the education of a skilled workforce to attract new businesses to this region. We have all been fortunate to receive overwhelming support from local officials and look forward to working with the legislature to make this campus a reality. So I want to thank you for the time to speak today and for all that you do to support Texas. And I recognize how challenging developing this budget is, and I look forward to any questions you may have.
Okay, Senator West.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam President, being a graduate of UT Arlington, undergrad and grad, I'm glad to have you here, and great relationships we've had over the course of the years, even though we don't have a football program.
You know, 41,000 plus students have decided football was not the most important decision in making their choice of college. So
only 41,000? Okay. All right.
Only 41,000.
Okay. In terms of research, let's talk about research expenditures. What are we looking at in terms of like 2025? I noticed that we've gone up from 23 to 24 in terms of research expenditures. What are you projecting for 25?
We anticipate we'll be in the $150 to $160 million range for the current fiscal year that we're in.
Okay. Talk a little bit more about UTA West. That's not Royce West. That's Going West. Even though it's my campaign slogan, keep on going west.
Yeah, absolutely. And we heard a lot of discussion, questions about the demographic cliff, how many students will be supported. All these things are really important questions. We have to understand that the distribution of our population is rapidly changing. And so you look at Dallas-Fort Worth, it will soon be the 3rd largest metro area in the country. I know Houston may argue they're going to get there first. Either way, we're growing rapidly. And if you look at that growth, Parker County in particular, 96% of the growth in Parker County is coming from from in-migration. That is families moving from other parts of the country or other parts of the state into Parker County. And if you look at the demographics of who is moving, it's families with young children or families of childbearing age. And so the growth we're seeing in these school districts is through the roof. So Aledo ISD is projecting they're going to double the number of kids in K through 12. There is no four-year university in the whole county. You look at the growth trajectory for Parker County, they're going to be the size of Laredo, Amarillo, Tyler, all areas of our state that have a four-year university. UT Arlington is the closest comprehensive public university to Parker County. And so it was natural for us to say, who do we need to serve for the decades to come? And what do we need to do in serving this area of the region? There is tremendous growth in advanced manufacturing and land set aside for industrial development. We're a huge engineering school. And so we just saw a natural alignment with the economic development that's happening and the need to be able to serve a growing young population in that part of our region.
Would you apprise the Finance Committee of what type of local support you have for this and also system support?
Yes, absolutely. The UT system is fully supportive of this project. The Board of Regents has endorsed this project moving forward. Every mayor in Parker County, as well as the mayor of Fort Worth, have all written letters of support. Our legislators in the area are also supportive of this project and understand the impact that it will have on economic development.
I think UTA should go west.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to ask a couple of questions. The new campus that you're anticipating, how far is that from the physical location that's in Arlington?
We're about 33 miles away from our campus in Arlington.
I mean, that sounds pretty close to be opening another school 33 miles away.
So keep in mind, if you look at the Dallas-Fort Worth region and 8 million people and the hundreds of thousands of students that we have, you have UT Dallas, UT Arlington, UNT, all close, and that's why we're establishing a branch campus as an extension of UTA rather than an independent university so that we can bring those services. I think one thing to keep in mind is that 50% of kids that will go to a public university will come from within 18 miles of that university. And so while we talk about people leaving the state, there's a huge number that want close access.
Sure, and I can appreciate that. I'm just thinking that that's still pretty close. I mean, obviously when you look at West Texas, but I mean, I appreciate the argument you have there. We've got a lot of interest in developing movie production and a lot of that coming from Hollywood here. A lot of it has been in the Fort Worth area. Are you adjusting the degrees or education that can be offered to support the workforce that the production of movies made in Texas will need?
Absolutely. We work very closely with the Fort Worth Film Commission and the film production companies such as 101 Studios, which makes Yellowstone and those other programs that we enjoy. We're working on building curriculum directly with 101 Studios, and we have added a commercial filmmaking minor, new certificate programs, and we anticipate launching production assistant programs starting in the fall, which have been designed specifically with 101 Studios.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Let's see, Senator Zaffarini.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam President, you talked about getting a four-year university, and let me advise you it's a long, slow process, and let me tell you how long. In 1967, the leaders of Laredo got together to create a four-year university in Laredo. Their request was denied by the legislature because of the recommendation of the coordinating board. That was 1967. I was a part-time media aide for Senator Wayne Connolly while a UT undergraduate student. I came back and passed that bill in 1993.
Well, congratulations to you.
From 1967 to 1993, and the effort was ongoing. So it's a long, slow process. You, as an emerging research university, and again, when I use the term research university or emerging research university and others, I'm using the coordinating board's grouping and their criteria. I'm not talking about Carnegie, AAU, U.S. News and World Report, anybody else. I'm talking about the coordinating board. So as one of the four UT institutions that are emerging research universities, a group in which there are 8, you mentioned having support from the system. What degree of support do you need from the legislature to supplement the system support to help you move from an emerging research university to the research university category of the coordinating board?
So there are several things that are up in this legislative session. The expansion of the National Research University Fund is certainly going to benefit the University of Texas at Arlington, providing additional resources to help us continue on our growth forward path. The TRIP funding match will be tremendous in terms of helping to support gifts that have already been made to the university to support that match. So those are two immediate things that are already in the legislative budget priorities. Additionally, we have special item requests related to growing our biomanufacturing efforts, our AI efforts. And so I would just say consistent and steady continuation of support resources will continue our climb forward. Much like Texas Tech University talked about earlier, all of our universities have plans for our continued progress forward to meet that AAU level metrics, which the THCCB metrics are based on those AAU metrics. And so we're on the right path forward. If you look at our metrics in terms of performance, we are already performing at the level of AAU institutions in every variable that's considered by the AAU. We just have to continue our forward progress so that we can get kind of the middle of the AAU kind of institutions so that we can have the political sway to then hopefully get voted in at some future point in time.
Well, the coordinating board's criteria include number 1, award 200 or more research scholarship doctoral degrees annually, and number 2, generate at least $150 million annually in federal and private research expenditures, et cetera. How long will it take you to meet these 2 criteria?
I think the question on federal research expenditures in part depends on what happens with the federal government in terms of how they want to approach research and their research priorities. But we're consistently growing our federal research expenditures every year. And so we have a pathway that's focused on achieving that level of criteria in the next 10 to 20 years for all of those criteria.
Thank you so much. You heard a question I raised earlier. Do you know how many hours you require for a doctoral degree above a master's degree?
It's 86 credit hours, so it's well below the 99 cap.
And do you think it should be lower?
You know, we are always looking at our programs to look at time to completion of degrees and rates of completion, and we recently submitted to THCCB a couple of requests to reduce the number of credit hours for some of our PhD programs to make them more efficient and timely to reach that degree.
Thank you. I'll be asking that question again.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions we have for you. Thank you very much for being here. We will now call up President Hartzell for UT at Austin and UT Texas at Austin Dell Medical School.